Hey, welcome to this episode of the Akashic Show. Thank you so much for pressing play. Today, we're going to be talking about how to turn that anger of yours. And if you're like, who, me? I'm not angry. Why are you calling me angry? Because that's how I was. I used to be really angry, really frustrated. My teens, my early 20s, and I remember there was this time where I threw, I think I threw a chair or something at the teacher in high school. And they sent me down to the principal's office, and I went down to the principal's office, and the principal was like, Nick, why are you so angry? I was like, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm only angry because you're calling me angry. And that's what I used to think. I used to think that the whole world was making me angry until I had a realization that, oh, it's not that the world is pissing me off. It's just I'm pissed off. I'm angry. And I'm bringing that to the world, and that's why the world appears to be making me full of anger. And so today, it's a fun topic because it's a topic I know very closely in my own experience in this lifetime, anger. So I look forward to having this conversation with everyone here. Listen, if it's the first time you guys are pressing play, you're tuning in, thank you so much. We come to you live every single 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in a different time zone, I don't know. You got to do the conversion. That's why they made Google. So time zone converter. So anyways, if it is the first time that you're pressing play, thank you guys so much. And if you're new to the Akashic Academy page, thank you so much. We've got shows happening every single day here for you, for your spiritual upliftment. If it is the first time that you're tuning into us, you may be wondering, who exactly are we? Well, the lady sitting next to me, the lady.
That's me.
Are you a lady? You know what term I learned just today? Lady of leisure.
Oh,
I didn't know what a lady of leisure was.
I know what that is.
It was explained to me. Tell me if I'm right. It was explained to me that a lady of leisure is somebody who's basically materially taking care of her husband or whatever. She's just completely taken care of. So she has no financial trouble. So she just leisures around all day long. Is that what a lady of leisure is?
That's what I would think of as a lady of leisure. And you know what's cool is that if I stay on budget in my life, I have the luxury of what my husband calls core and explore, meaning he's the core essence of what keeps the family running. So I have the privilege to be the exploratory income that comes in, core and explore. So in that sense, you know what? I'm just going to own Lady of Leisure. I also, Louise, man, I work a whole bunch, but my work really is like play. I really do love what I do. And I'm in a really privileged position. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how like anger is going to get in the way of you stepping into what you're here to do. For me, that it includes, entrepreneurship in my life. And so I'm really excited to talk about like how anger has played a part for me, because I've definitely been very angry. But you know what? I'm really willing and open to see what patterns of my life really do reflect a lady of leisure. I don't know that I've ever really thought about that for myself, but I sure see how owning that energy frequency might be something that I, would like to do in a more dynamic way. Right?
Let me help you own it. If you guys don't know Emily is not only is she a lady of leisure, but she is also the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy. She is helping light workers all over the world get certified in the Akashic records, learn to use the space of the Akash to be able to tap into your spiritual gifts so that you can make an impact in the world. She's a mom, she's a wife, and she is my partner here at the Akashic Academy. She's also my friend. And Emily, you're holding a tremendous space for us, a tremendous vision for us all to be able to step into really helping us as light workers, step up as leaders. So not just play in the background anymore of the world, but really in this new age, lead that rise of light workers. And you're really doing that in a big way. So it's nice to get together with you every Friday and chat. How's it going?
It's going good. I love that you just brought that awareness to like calling out the light workers. It's time to get up and go. You guys know that song Hall of Fame, be teachers, be leaders, be preachers. Like that song comes on Alexa, and I literally am so moved that I start crying. You can be a hero. You can be the best. You can be a King Kong pounding on your chest. Don't even get me going because I'll just rap the whole song here for you guys. I'm so inspired by the energy that comes with knowing that we're all in this space of expansion. It's so collaborative and so much fun when you work with people who have taken the time to hone their crafts, hone their skills. They have growth mindsets. They're here to change the world. And we're all doing it together. And it really comes down to the friendship and the relationship and the business mentorship that started between the two of us. That like sets the foundation for everything we're talking about. Yeah, Louise is like, what are you talking about today? You never know when you show up here.
It's true. You never know where this goes.
What random pieces of life we're going to tie together for you. But the really beautiful thing about this energy frequency that we've established, Nick, is we put people in touch with their highest level of visionary expansion, of inspiration. And then we marry it with what you bring to the table, which allows us to put that into a formula that truly changes the way you show up in life. Like you're helping us to create businesses and jobs that are the essence of who we are, which is what it's meant to be. And coming into this space, you guys, you're stepping into powerful frequency. I don't know how long it's going to take to catch up to you, but eventually you're going to find it undeniable that you want to expand in your own spiritual quantum understanding of your journey, your healing gifts and abilities. And you're going to want to figure out how you show up and help other people doing that. So you're in the right place. Coach Nick is teaching us just so dynamically how to create our own businesses. You've changed my life, my friend. And I'm so excited to take what you and I have built and create a structure for other people who want to participate and have that same experience. So thank you for being my partner in creating that, my friend.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of the journey. So let's dive into this puppet show this week. The universe is our sugar daddy, Louise says. I love that. I guess we could all be, even us guys, we could all be men and women of leisure. And having our wonderful universe take care of us. I love it. Mm-hmm. So let's dive into today's puppet show. You want to give me, I can, or you want to go first? I can give you a round of, whatever we call it, a drum roll, a round of applause. I can give you a drum roll. All right. Bam!
Oh, this is Alexis Serrano. And Alexis is working one-on-one with Nick right now. And I love that she says that the information is blowing her mind because Coach Nick was bragging about you, Alexis, when we showed up to our meeting today. He said she is rocking it. And that makes me so excited and so proud of you. I've had the opportunity to work with Alexis in her Akashic records and then introduce her to Coach Nick. She's ready to rock and roll, man. And this is what makes me so excited because Alexis, another template, another person coming to expand, heal, shift, grow, step into your highest potential, open those gateways using the records to do that. She's got modalities that are busting and wisdom that is just busting loose from her. And Coach Nick, you're teaching her how to totally change her life and change other people's life doing it. And she's doing the work. And that's what happens when you show up in this space, sitting on ready to rock and roll. And that's why I chose my friend and your friend Alexis today.
Awesome. Fantastic. You want to hook me up
with
a drum roll?
Yep.
Bam. Now, I'll be honest, I can't remember what Caitlin said. I didn't get the quote. But I think she said something about "you're so right, Nick." So today's
oh my God.
Today's quotes are all about Coach Nick and how awesome he is. I know she said something nice about me, and that's why I picked it because I was like, "Oh, look, somebody said something nice about me. Let me highlight you." So Caitlin Batters is an Akashic Academy member. I've also had the opportunity of working with Caitlin, and awesome. You know, a lot of her know her. If you don't know her, get to know her. She's a really sweet young mom, and why I say a young mom is because you know, so many young moms and young people in general are really finding a hard time finding their spiritual essence and becoming who they're meant to be. And Caitlin's really taking the action steps to do that. So Caitlin, just giving you a shout out. Thanks so much for being part of the community.
Totally
and,
a leader.
Being
She's
one
totally
of
a leader.
Totally, yeah. Being who you are on the planet, and just bringing such a light and fun energy to the world. Appreciate it very much. All right, nice. Emily, why don't you? Let's do a little bit of news, and let's talk about anger. One of my favorite topics. Anger.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of anger that I transmuted. I got a lot to tell you all about today. I really want to welcome and congratulate 3 new students joining me in learning to read the Akashic Records. We've got the awesome Kira Lonnie, who you guys know from Trigong here. Woo, woo! And we have Karen Linder Trussell, who I've had the pleasure of working with and knowing for quite some time. Trussell, I have such a French strain through my DNA. I can't believe that I don't take that opportunity to fully pronounce the French accent of your name. Karen Linder Trussell. I'm gonna get better at it, because Karen and I are going to be hanging out weekly and learning to read the Akashic Records. This is just such a beautiful rite of passage that I love sharing it with people because it's so life-changing. And Tamara Sindara. So class is super duper expansive right now. For those of you guys who are interested in learning more about what it means to dive in, to read your Akashic Records, how this puts you in an energy frequency to stand in your highest potential, to reach knowledge, to reach insight that is specific to you. That's really what it's all about, is training you how to know and trust and to use the energy to your highest good and the highest good of everyone around you on a daily basis. So if you want to know more about that, reach out to me. The price of that class is going to be going up January. So if you are interested, now is the time to jump in. And we got another big jump in. December 14th through the 16th, you guys have the opportunity to hang with Coach Nick and I all weekend. We are doing a 3-day online crash course. Coach Nick is laying down all of the blueprints that he uses with his one-on-one clients, that we use here at the Academy, the systems, the structures. He's going to take us through that. I'm going to be holding us all in that space of our Akashic Records, connected to your individual records, so you can receive that high level of insight. Maybe you haven't been able to reach clarity or understanding yet. This provides a way, an energetic structure and support for you to be able to open and receive that energy. So I'm super duper excited about this opportunity to have a marriage of our different skills and our knowledge sets, because something amazing happens. There are still tickets available. Coach Nick, you'll post the link for them so they can come join us. The activations are already starting over on the event page. The Akashic Records, and we have ancestry, lineage from the Akashic Records showing up to support us through this process. And the process has already started. We're doing recreating of thoughts and shifting thoughts and building a powerful thought and emotional frequency, a basis within ourselves to support us as we go through this process. So I want to invite you all to check that out and to join us, because it's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm really looking forward to this three-day weekend. And, you know, the full emergence does something for you. When you hang out in a certain space for that amount of time together, it's just really, it's like amplifying, you know, it's kind of like going on a retreat. And while we are going to be online, you know, you're going to forget the world for 3 days, because we're going to have you fully immersed in both your personal growth as well as your spiritual growth, and marrying those two together, because they're one and the same. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about anger. So, Emily, you said you got a lot to share about this subject, right? Emily was yelling at me all angrily before we got on the show. I'm just joking; she really wasn't. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your anger and how you've transmuted it? Why don't you tell us about your anger?
Tell us about your anger. I've had a lot of anger over the course of my life that I am every day. And even today, as we were talking, I actually unraveled even a little bit deeper understanding of where that anger comes from. So I'll just tell you about like my personal experience. I remember being kind of a moody kid. I remember being fun, like out in the public to hang out with and like with my friends. But I remember like in the depths of who I was pretty moody. And I had a lot of I had a lot of dense energy that I didn't really understand. As I became older and I watched just like the family dynamics, there were some interesting family conflicts that we went through. And I realized that my granny, who's passed now, God rest her soul, was an angry person. And I asked her if I could tell before I came on the show. And she said, yeah, go ahead and tell. Granny Cora held a lot of anger for a lot of personal reasons in her life, right? But I'm seeing that it was generational too. So she not probably, because this is how the cycles work, she held generational anger herself. But she would get so angry that she would like growl and like show her teeth at people when she would get pushed beyond her limits. And I recognized times in my life before too. It's weird. Like I've gotten to the point where I've gotten so triggered. I told them like this caveman or cave woman, I should say, voice comes out of me. Sometimes I would scream and just like, Grah! I remember the biggest anger. Oh man, I'm going to share with you guys, like, honestly, probably one of my darkest moments in my life. And it was right before I was already signed up to dive in to learn to read my Akashic records, but the class hadn't officially started yet. And Mike and I were having a lot of issues coming up in our marriage, and we were getting ready to go on a vacation. Actually, it was like an anniversary together to Joshua Tree. Thank God for Joshua Tree and this magical place that healed us afterwards. But as we were packing the RV, getting ready to go, this fight starts unraveling and coming out of us. And he's just like, why do you not like me so much? Why are you so angry at me? And at that point, I had enough realization to know that if that's what he was like, somehow I needed to own my own anger in this. Like he was reflecting it for me in that moment. And something shifted. And I had held so much anger from my acting career, from constantly like feeling like I was on the break and this was going to be the one, and waiting for that call for so many years, and just so much came out of me that I remember it making sense in that moment. And I had to release all of that anger. And I just started like angrily pounding on my legs. I pounded my legs so hard. I released my anger, not in a very enlightened way, but I pound my legs so hard. I gave myself hematomas. Like I couldn't really walk correctly for a month. I would stand up and all of like the inflammation and pressure would like readjust in my legs. We were able to make up and get ourselves to Joshua Tree and, hike and find some peace. And I wasn't able to see it until later, like what I was transmuting really and moving through. But I needed to let that go to move through my process in the Akashic records. And that transmuted the majority of my anger. I do still notice sometimes my anger coming up, and Cave Lady will come out. What I realized today, Nick, as you and I were talking, was another layer of that I've held. And that is the divine feminine energy within me that wants to balance what's the energy of the planet right now. The divine feminine that's been suppressed. She sometimes gets pissed and angry too. And she'll still come out. And I notice it showing up in my business. That's where I still get triggered. And I know that now that I see this from this higher perspective, I think it's going to transmute any triggers that come up in terms of what I'm dealing with business things too. So I'm excited to see how my own continued like revelation of how it's showing up for me can shift me. What do you think about that? And then tell us about that time you were a teenager and you threw a chair at somebody. What the hell?
Yeah,
you had some puberty raging through you then too.
Yeah. Well, similar to you, I mean, I think that anger and frustration has come down the bloodline, and so born frustrated, if you will, born tight, born in a body that is like a bit wound up. And as I've gone through the spiritual process, been able to relax my body and nervous system. You can tell anger within the nervous system, right? Somebody is a little bit more tense. The more you're wound up in the more your body's wound up, then the easier you're not really at zero. So that's why when someone because I was so wound up, when somebody would say something, it didn't take me much to go to a 10 and start to like throw something or want to explode or really get into that state where it's like you're not even thinking. There's no intelligence anymore. Yeah. It's just completely in that fight mode, that, you know, lashing out mode, right? But as I've been able to relax and be more centered, be more realized as a soul, then my body is much more relaxed. So therefore, it's a lot harder now to actually get me to become angry. And it doesn't mean that anger is there. And anger is actually, you know, part of life. It's part of the human experience. So I don't want to demonize anger either and be like, you'll never get angry. You know, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, there's stories where he got angry and, you know, like, you know, was like, you know, like, you know, making
Jesus too, right?
Jesus. I was just going to say, yeah, Jesus Christ. You know, he flipped the tables over in the temples and told everybody to get out because they made his house a, you know, if you've ever seen Jesus Christ Superstar, my temple is a house of prayer. You have made it a den of thieves.
I didn't know you were getting all these show tunes today, did you?
Right. So, you know, like Jesus Christ, you know, he got angry. Shiva got angry. Hanuman, if you're familiar with Hanuman, he's the monkey god, as most people knows him, right? Yeah. He was the great devotee of Lord Rama, right? Which is, you know, God incarnated, or another incarnation of Krishna is Lord Rama. So Hanuman was such a devotee that when Lord Rama's wife Sita was taken away, kidnapped, Hanuman went on the war path and burned the city down. Like he literally, so his anger burnt the city down, but he did it out of love and devotion, just like Jesus did and stuff. So how anger is used in a spiritual sense is that you can take your anger, and if you're still conscious in that anger, you can transmute it and use it. I always say, look, if something makes you angry in the world, then that is a good chance that it is your calling. Someone asked me one time, what makes you really angry? And my answer was, when I see people not living up to their potential. And now I'm a coach.
How interesting.
Because what I do in the world is I help people really live up to their potential. I help them, you know, unleash what is within them, because it angers me when I see somebody not doing as well as they could be. It gives me some anger, but it's like a bit of a spiritual anger. It's a bit of a calling anger. That is a different type of anger than I have unresolved trauma. I have daddy and mommy issues still. I have lineage. That type of anger needs to be healed and worked with a very loving and the divine feminine motherly loving energy. And then there's an anger that is like, that makes me mad in the world, or that's injustice, or that I really want to see us become more than that. That anger is like a spiritual anger because it is dovetailed with love. That anger actually has a love to it. It's no different than a mother who disciplines their child, or a father disciplines their child, and they use the energy of anger to get a point across. In a controlled way, it is coming from a space of love and can be utilized. In an uncontrolled way, it can cause a lot of damage. So anger is ultimately in the mode of passion or fire. And fire can be used to heat a home, or fire can be used to burn a home down. It is the way that you use the anger that makes it so. So if you feel angry about something, if you've got anger right now, if you're holding on to anger, if you get triggered, ask yourself, what is the source of this anger? Is the source of this anger something that happened to me? Some unresolved issue, something that isn't being said? Then deal with that. Said what needs to be said. Deal with what needs to be dealt. Get back to being whole and complete. What needs to be forgiven? Forgive, let go. And then ask, is there anger in me from like more of like a passionate anger? I see an injustice in the world. I see something with kids, something with animals, something with our environment, something with our, you know, our system right now that I want to see be transformed for the betterment of those people. Use that anger and get into action. And that could be building a business or a non-for-profit. It'll probably look like some kind of structured charity business mission, and use that anger and bring it out to the world so that you could be a catalyst for transformation. Those are some thoughts I have about anger. And that's been my own journey. It's learning how to transform my anger from self-destruction to actually an anger of like, hey, let me go help other people and help them reach their potential.
Mm-hmm. You want to know the last punishment I gave my kids? My kid, London, it was him. I'll tell you. I don't know if this is a good parenting moment or not, but he called. Okay, so I'm telling like raw family stories today. This is not a good story, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there for you guys because this actually triggered a lot of anger in the other parents. So my kids, they play video games. They talk to each other on the headphones, and I'm not monitoring, listening in on what they're saying. And the boys get talking crude to each other. And the latest lingo, so back when I was, please forgive me, I'm just going to use straight up the language that comes out. I do not mean this with any energy behind it for anyone. I love all people. When I was growing up, it was like, oh, that's gay. That's gay. Everything's gay, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean homosexual. It means it's stupid or whatever you're doing to say that you disagree with it. The current lingo, and I always say acoustic Jew, but it's not acoustic. They're calling people autistic Jews, which is pretty horrendous if you have experienced any kind of autism or abnormality in a family, and you're experiencing what that really means. If you were anywhere connected to the Jewish lineage, there's a lot of anger in that. My kids aren't connected with that anger, and my son shared that lingo with one of his friends on the playground. Now, London didn't use it. The friend was the one who actually called a teacher that, but London definitely has been known to use this language, and this whole situation erupted. People were angry. The other child's parents were super angry that he'd heard it from my kid. My husband works at the school. My husband was so angry at London that he was ready just like to come after him. It was a really intense time that was playing out. And so I took a step back and I really began to examine, okay, like, where is this coming from? And you know what? Shut the damn video games off. He needs to engage other aspects of his brain. And you know why I'm pissed? Because I'm allowing that to happen. And because the conversation about what language is appropriate and compassionate hasn't come up yet. And I haven't addressed that. That's really why I'm pissed, truthfully. I'm not pissed necessarily at him. I wish he would have made a better choice. But I was angry at myself for not being as engaged of a parent as I should have been. So and you know what I'm realizing? I didn't actually probably even do the right thing. But what I was thinking was like the kid needs more activity. He needs to engage other aspects of his brain. So I got the kid parkour lessons as his punishment. I realized I probably should have done something that actually engaged the two of us more. So next time I will. But there's another example of how anger played out. And that was how I showed up to Transmute It. I always try to get down to see how I can shift my story, maybe own something, maybe see something in a broader way, because that's where I gain my power back. And that's the easiest way that I've learned to transmute my anger, is to be able to see it from that perspective.
I think something you said there is really important, which is that.
Oh, good. I thought I was rambling. Thank you.
There was some wisdom in the ramble. I think one thing that stood out to me as you were just sharing there was that we have you took like a reflective aspect. Why am I angry? And I think that you looked at it internally, which is kudos to you. And I think that's the ultimate the ultimate way of looking and transmuting anger is to go, why am I really angry? I used to think like I was angry. My old self would say, they're making me angry. So there was no internal responsibility that anger arises from within us. So while something may trigger that anger has to be within us to be triggered, right? And it's generally some insecurity or fear we have around about ourselves. What I realized a lot of my anger came from was this deep-seated awareness that, well, I don't want to look stupid. So in some way, I picked up the belief at some point in my life that I am dumb, or that I don't have enough knowledge yet, that I somehow don't live up to that. And so what I realized is whenever my mind perceived that somehow my intelligence is being questioned, then I would respond in an anger way. And that could still arise in me, and I have to be aware of that. And so the more I'm aware of that, then the less it triggers, then the less it's there. And the more and more that I can relax into that and realize this is not anything to do with my intelligence. This just needs to be handled in a different way. So I thought that inner reflective part was really just a nice reflection to think about.
Thanks. Hey, let's do a little activation together. I'm feeling like let's hold some energy in the sacral chakra. This is in the womb area, or the lower belly, the lower abdomen. And this is where we tend to store those emotions. And I just love the simplicity of us all oming together. So why don't I just help us get our columns of light connected, and then Nick, you want to lead us in the ohms, and we'll just all ohm together? That work?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. How many ohms you want? How many ohms on order? How
many ohms you guys want? Order up. This is one of the few times that I could tell you what to do and you do it. Normally you're telling me what to do. We were talking about that with Alexis too. We're like, tell us what to do. We show up, we do it, we do the work, we get shit done. It's fun working with you. I'm going to tell you what to do today though.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm feeling 5. Universe is saying 5. Random number. Right. I don't know.
5
okay, so everybody, let's take that crystalline tube of light, anchor it down into Mother Earth for support. Send it all the way down into the crystalline core. Breathe that energy up, and as you're breathing up, send the tube of lights all the way up into source energy. Pulling source energy back down, running that energy through your body. Focus your awareness now. Drop your consciousness down into your sacral chakra. This is bright orange in color. So you're going to want to see orange emanating in 360 degrees. And this chakra is about the size of an orange. So it's about 4 inches in diameter. So I want you to imagine that sphere, that spinning wheel of energy. And really allow yourself to experience as much of a relationship, as much of a oneness with that energy. Feel your consciousness almost like the center of that chakra. And as we ohm together, I want you to feel that vibration and tune into that orange color and allow it just to emanate 360 degrees. Okay, Coach Nick, you're on. Lead us. Everybody take a deep breath, nice deep breath, an integration breath, stabilizing as you exhale in this new energy frequency that you've set. And get to work. Come on back nice and slow. There's a lot of energy moving there. I felt very dizzy more than once, which I like.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Akashic Show. Remember that we come live every single 9 a.m. Pacific time. Guys, I'm going to leave the link for the 3-day training. Take advantage of the early bird pricing right now if you're considering coming out. I think we've got 9 spots left at the early bird pricing, so snatch those up. And yeah, we'll see you next week. We got Brad Johnson coming up here in a few hours. We got the Feng Shui lady coming up this evening. So we got a full Friday for you to inspire you, uplift you, and equip you for all your spiritual needs. And yeah, let us know if you've got any questions. We want to hear from you.
Yeah,
thank you guys so much.
Hang on, just speaking of, sorry, real fast. Speaking of spiritual needs, our community, we do full moon and new moon ceremonies. New moon ceremonies happening today at noon. So come join me, those of you who are Akashic Academy members. And those of you who are not yet members, if you want to know more about that, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Coach Nick. Scroll up, click more, learn more at the top of this page, and you'll learn how you can join us for the 10 exclusive new workshops that we put on every single month.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.